All right, my friends, good morning to you. If you're watching this in the morning. Otherwise, wait until the morning to watch this. Anyway, okay, today's Revit tip is about how to make a brand new material. Because oftentimes you've got new materials. Maybe you've got a new tile that you want to use, or you've got a carpeting color, or you've got a different kind of a brick pattern. There's lots of reasons for you to want and need a new material in Revit. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the tips and tricks, some of the best practice of using one, and why some people trip up and things are not working for them. All right, so let's go there right now. All right, where's that share my screen with you button? There it is. Okay, here we are in Revit. Okay, and what we need is something to put a material on. So let me think here. Let's go to 3D. All right, so here we are in front of our little building, and everybody has used in Revit, it comes with, it ships with like that Corbu sofa. Okay, so let's go get that. Insert, load a family, and I'm gonna come down here. Okay, underneath your libraries, you've got furniture and seating, and there it is. So no, that's just a normal sofa. Here's that Corbu sofa. I'm gonna hit open. Yeah, rock and roll. And then I'm going to come down to families, and I'm going to expand furniture. I'm going to come down here to, there it is, Corbu sofa. And I'm not going to try to drag the name of the family. I'm going to drag the name of the type, which says sofa. So I'm going to drag it over and drop it right here outside on the lawn. And so here we are. And it always comes in dark like this. Like, why is it so dark? Why is it so black and gray like this? Well, let's take a look at the properties. I'm going to just slide my face over that side. Okay, here we go. When I pick this little couch, I'm going to go into its type properties, the type parameters. And would you look at that? The cushion material is set to black leather. That's why it is dark like this when we look at it. But let's say we wanted a new material, okay? And if I go look in my materials, let's say I want to put some blue fabric on it. Yeah, forget that black leather. I want blue fabric. So if I open up, I'm going to go to Manage, my materials. Wait for it. Oh, there's the materials. Okay, wait, let me just move things around a little bit for us. Okay, here's our materials. So I can scroll down through all my materials and try to find blue fabric. But up at the top, you can do a quick search. And so I'm going to type blue, see if that helps. No, I got slate and I've got some ceramic tile that's blue. Let me do another search for fabric. Okay. Oh, I got 3 things that are kind of in the fabric category. If they've got fabric written anywhere in their description, it'll come up here. So I've got some carpeting, and I've got some bamboo and some white. Well, I don't have blue fabric at all in my library here, my material browser. So what I need to do is get a new family, brand new family, a new material. So here we go. When you want a new material, what you do is you reach down here to the bottom, just move your cursor all the way to the bottom of this material browser, and there's this round circle down here with a plus on it, okay? If you expand that with the little drop down, it says create a new material. And if you have one that is already selected, then it would give you another option to duplicate the one you've already got. But I want to create a brand new material, okay? So I'm gonna click on it, bink. And what it does, it puts it into my grand list, and it calls it default new material. So this is it. It takes you to it, but that's what it calls it every single time. And the first thing you got to do is rename it to what you really want. So I'm going to right click on it and hit rename, and I'm going to call it fabric. Okay. Fabric blue. Okay. That sounds like a decent enough name. And when I click off of it, it moves to the F's because I called it fabric. So you got to go find it again. It's like, where'd it go? Oh dear. I just called it fabric. Where is it? All right, doing a search. Fabric. Fabric. Oh, I didn't hit OK. What? Okay. Default new material. Rename. Fabric. Fabric blue. And I'm going to hit OK. There it is. Fabric blue. It went in this time because I hit the OK button. You can't hit escape. I found out when you hit escape, that just basically turns off anything you're doing. Okay, so now we've got one. But let's take a look at the what we've got. If we map this onto our couch, excuse me, I'm clearing my throat. If we map this, look at this on the generics tab. Take a look at your generics tab over here. Okay, this is, it's saying it's going to be gray, and it's got a surface. The shading is going to be gray, and the surface pattern is going to be gray, and the background is going to be none. I mean, none. It's just, it is generic immediately. So if I go ahead and put this blue, what I call blue fabric, onto my couch, it is going to be totally gray. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to hit OK. So here we go. Look, I'm going to click on my couch, move my face a little bit further. Here's my couch. I'm going to the type parameters. Now I'm going to click on right here where it says leather black. I just click on it, and these three little dots appear, and this little button over on the right, and you click on those three dots, and it brings up your material browser. And then you can scroll down or scroll up wherever it is to go to fabric blue. And if I say OK, take a look. We get fabric blue, which is not blue. It hasn't been set yet, but it's a brand new material and it's ready to go. It's all just gray, gray, gray. So here's how you deal with getting this to be a true fabric with the true colors and the true, it works. Even for rendering, it's going to work. So here we go. What you do is you go back to, on your Manage tab, click on your materials again, and you click on fabric blue. Now, we need to go now, watch this, to the Appearance tab. You click on the Appearance tab, and it's also saying when this renders, the Graphics tab is for what it's going to look like sitting here in Revit when you have like consistent colors or shading turned on. That's what the appearance is going to be. I mean, the graphics are going to look like. The Appearance tab is how it's going to render, okay? The render appearance, when you hit render. So if you only update the color on the graphics, like if I change this color right here to some blue, I could do that. And it would show up blue. I'm going to hit OK. It'll show up blue on my couch, but it's not going to render that way. It's going to render gray because the Appearance tab is where the rendering comes from. Okay. So you with me? So let's go back to our materials. And even though we've set a color, that's only for what it looks like here in Revit. So I'm going to switch over to Appearance. Now, this is where we go get a true asset. And that's what they call them in Revit, assets. Revit shipped with a ton of assets. I'm going to show you. You come over here at the very top, and this little tiny button that's sitting up here. It looks like a white square swapping out with a blue square, okay? And what we're going to do is click that. And what it does, it opens up your asset browser, which is a huge list of all of the materials that shipped with Revit. Now, we're going to make our own material in a minute, but I want to show you this library. It's exhaustive. I mean, it's great. So up at the top, we can type in what we're looking for. You could type in metal or ceramic or carpet, wood. There's so many materials, but I'm going to type in fabric, okay? And what it does, it searches through and it grabs everything that's fabric. Now, there's some Autodesk physical assets and there's Appearance library. I usually pick off of the appearance library because there's a longer list I've found. Look at this. The fabrics, I mean, let's just look. Do you see how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It gave us 10 in the physical assets, including flooring. Here's fabric, and here's flooring, which is 1. But if I go to the appearance library, look at this fabric. Whoa, we've got bandage, and we've got beige and brown and burlap and canvas, and it keeps on going. And there's a bunch of leathers and meshes and plaids. Plaid, that's cool. Okay, and tweed. Okay, it's a long list. So you got to you pick a material out of here. This is one way to do it. So I'm going to come down here to not leather, blue denim. No, not really. That's so 1960s or maybe 70s. But wait, blue fabric right there. So all you do is double click it. Okay. And when you double click that, you're like, did it work? Didn't do anything. Well, it did it. Behind the scenes, what it did, it pushed that asset back over into your appearance tab. So I'm going to reach up and just close. You hit the X up in the top, and you can close the asset browser. Okay. Don't hit the big X in the top of Revit, or you'll shut the whole program down. But look what it did. Under blue fabric, it brought to the appearance tab that it updated. It brought me the asset. It brought the asset over. Now, and it also put that picture that I have right there over here on the left, so of the left of it, so I can kind of get an idea of it. That's what all of these have, pictures of what they're gonna render like. Okay, that's what that is. So there it is. And it's a blue, it's fabric blue, and there's the image that it's using, and these words underneath is a link to where the actual image is located on your computer. There's other things like reflectance of this material and the roughness of the material. It's all realistic. And there's if it's translucent, or it has emissivity, if it's emissing. There's also relief patterns. If there's a bump pattern to it, oftentimes I turn that off because that slows my computer down tremendously. But if you are doing a high-end rendering, turn that on so that you can get the bumps and the curvature and the indentations. It's just amazing. Okay, so if I look back over at the graphics tab, I can still turn that to orange, or I can turn it to pink. I can turn this to look however I want it in the in Revit, but it won't render that way. It's going to render by what's on the appearance tab. But if I want them to kind of match, on the graphics tab, there's a tiny little button up here that says use the render appearance. And if I click that, it turns it a color of blue. And you're like, well, how did it know what color to pick? What it does is it looks back over at the appearance tab, and it looks right here at the image that you're using, and it kind of takes a medium color, just the base color of, if it were to take that image and turn it into only one color, the color it picks is what it puts here on your graphics tab. Okay, so that color is going to get pushed onto my object. I'm going to hit OK, and you're going to see it. Bam. Okay. Now, this is ready to go. What I'm going to do is, this is in, I believe, we're in, I'm going to turn off my view template just for a second. It's behind my face. None. Okay. So here we go. There we go. I'm going to switch. I turned off my view template so I could switch these out. We're in shaded right now. Look, this is shade. That's shaded. That's what it looks like, shaded. This is consistent colors, and I kind of like shaded better. But what if I switch it to rendering, the actual, right here, realistic? When you switch it to realistic, what it does is it takes it actually puts not the graphics tab, it takes the image that is in your the appearance tab, and it maps it on. And it doesn't look like it, but we're going to zoom in. First, we're going to zoom out. Take a look. We've got brick nearby, and we've got concrete, and we've got grass. And yet I'm going to zoom in on our couch. Ding, 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 ding. And you're starting to see it. I can tell you're starting to see it. Can everybody see that we have the actual material, that's the image, it is on here, okay? It is mapped onto this. All right, so let's suppose we wanted like, I'm just gonna say it, orange stripe material. Now, I went on the internet and just found some orange and white stripe material. But you can take a photograph of anything you want. You can take a photograph of a pillow you love, you know, with some patterns on it, or some fabric, or you can go to a material library somewhere. Just be careful not to grab things that are owned by somebody else. Make sure you own them, buy the material, or take the photograph yourself. I'm going to use one that I found on the internet just for an example, but I don't advise you to use things. This is a disclaimer. Don't use things in your projects that you download off the internet, okay? Unless they are specifically giving you free material. And there are many royalty-free materials out there. Anyway, done with disclaimer. So what I'm going to do is we're going to create a brand new material. And I want to show you the process of making one that you don't have or it's not. I looked in the asset library and there is no orange stripe material. It's just not in there, okay? So we need to make one from scratch. And this could be, maybe you're making grass, maybe you're making concrete or dirt, or you're making mulch for under the trees, or maybe you're making a new brick pattern, whatever, tile. This is how you go about it. So you click on materials, okay? And you move your face out of the way. Here's fabric blue. We've already created it, so why don't we just use it? A lot of people will say, oh, I'll just pick one that it's close and just change the color. Yay, that'll work. Not. Let me show you why. If I pick this one, it's highlighted, and down at the bottom, I click on duplicate selected material. It does, it duplicates it. It tosses in a 1 in here, but I'm going to change the name. Fabric. Look at this. Orange stripes. Orange stripes, sweet. But because I duplicated it, it's exactly the same, right? We have to change something to affect it. Now, if I go over here and I say, stop using the render appearance, just stop it and switch it to orange. Well, that would actually push orange onto my object. And I'm just going to show you. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to click on the couch, and I'm going to edit the type. I'm going to switch this fabric, the blue, to fabric orange stripes. Yay, okay. And what happens? Ready? Wait for it. It turns. Did I change it or not? Orange stripes. Come on. It's orange. See what's going on? What's happening here? Okay. Oh, I have it set. I have it set on down here in my settings. The visual style is realistic. So it's showing me how it's going to render, right? But if I switch it back to shaded, it's going to show the orange. It will show that little color that I have on the graphics tab, but that is not important to me. That's not how it's going to render. When I switch it back to realistic, this is how it's going to render blue fabric, because I haven't updated the asset. Now, here's where people mostly go wrong, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back to the materials, and sometimes, look at this, orange stripes. If I go over to the appearance tab, okay, and I say, hey, I need to switch this, this image. I need to change it to a new image that I've downloaded. So I click on these words right underneath the image. I click on it and I say, I would like to, it's behind my face. Wait for it. I'm going to move this out of the way. There we go. I'm going to go to my orange fabric that I downloaded. Okay. I'm going to say open. And you're like, whoa, that looks cool. Look, orange fabric is shown right there. And the picture even updated at the top. If you want the little tiny picture over on the left to update, you kind of have to jog its memory. On this little drop down, you can say, show me this, right? Look at this. Show me this on a sphere. That looks really nice. Wait for it. It's previewing. Okay, that looks good on a sphere. Or show me this on a, you can pick what you want. Show me this on a draped fabric over a table. Okay. When you start messing with that, what it does is it's going to initiate the change over here in the picture. So let's go back to blue. I mean, to the graphics tab. That hasn't updated yet. Wait for it. Okay. I want to hit use render appearance button again. And look, it picks kind of a muddy-ish orange because it's the base color that it picked from this guy right here. Okay. So now you are going to go, that's cool. And if I hit OK, I want to show you something went wrong. Watch this. I'm going to say OK. And it's going to update. And you're like, well, that's cool. But I want to show you something that happened. If I click it and switch it back from orange stripes back to blue, you're like, wait a minute. How come the blue one is showing orange fabric and the orange stripe one's showing orange fabric? Because when we hit duplicate, they have a shared asset. And you're like, why would they do that? Why would they share assets? That's just bad mojo. We shouldn't do that. Okay. So what you can do, you can go, look at this. Here's the blue. And it's saying blue fabric. And the truth is we can go get the blue fabric again. Watch this. I'm just going to go back to the blue fabric. I'm going to go back to the blue fabric. And I'm going to go click on, I'm going to go, okay, where was the blue fabric? There's the blue fabric. That's the one I want. Okay, double click it and it fires it back in. And so now our blue fabric is back in here. Whew, we love it. Now, if I go over to the orange stripes, okay, it's kind of confused. What we did, when you get a new asset, when you bring a new asset in, then you can change that. So this one is using the old asset and this blue fabric is using the new asset. Okay. So I need to update the name of this thing and call it fabric orange. Orange, that's good. And maybe the description is generic. No, it's not generic. It's striped orange, whatever, okay? There. So anyway, when you bring a new asset over, that overwrites the old asset. And if you just duplicate, you're going to run into issues because they're shared assets. You need to bring a new asset over, even the same exact one. Even if it's named exactly the same, it's still considered a new asset when you bring it in from the asset library, and then you can update it and it won't update the other one. You with me? Now, you're going to notice in a second there is yet another problem. So the blue one is back to fixed. It's blue and it's working, okay? But this orange stripes is not quite fixed, and I'm going to show you why. It's the scale thing. I'm going to say okay. And it's going to map that orange onto my couch, okay? All right. So there it is. Now let's zoom in and take a look at what we've got right here where we were before. We zoomed in on this corner. Can you see what's going on? My picture of the orange fabric is really tiny and it's repeating really tiny. It's a scale problem. When you bring your pictures in, you have to scale them. So let's go back to that asset and scale it. So we're going to our materials. We're going to the orange stripes. We're going to go click on the actual photo itself, not the words underneath that route to where I have this on my server, but the image itself. When you click on the image, it brings up this dialog behind my face. Okay, I'm going to bring it out here so you can see it. It says that my image, that from that corner to that corner, is 3/4 of an inch long. And from that corner to that one is 3/4 of an inch long. So your image, you have to tell Revit what the scale is. See, it was using that from the old asset. We have to update it. So right down here, there's positioning. You can shift your image, you can transform it, you can repeat it or not. And I like repeating it because then it smooths it out over the surface. But look at this, scale is where we're going right now. 3/4 of an inch, no. This piece of fabric that I've got is probably 1 foot square. And here's where I'm going to tell you something. If you've got a photograph of some bricks or some tiles, you just have to know if you can see 2 tiles exactly from side to side in your photograph and they're 8-inch tiles, then your image is 16 inches wide. You see how that works? So whether you're working in metric and millimeters or foot and inches, you have to know what the true real scale of your image is. Is it 1 foot by 2 or 2 foot by 1, or is it 6 inches by 4 inches? You need to know what the true dimensions are. And this photograph is a 1 foot square of a wrinkled orange and white fabric. Okay, so what I got to do is come down here. Now the sample size down here is in inches. So if I just wrote 1 for 1 foot, it's going to go 1 inch, and that's not good enough. So I'm going to say 12, and it assumes a foot. So you got to just make sure that this is what it is down here, and verify up here that it says 1 foot for the photograph. And I'm going to say done. It updates your image over here immediately. See that? It updated the image. It also updated this over here. It updates per asset. So we know we're using 2 separate assets because the pictures are different. If these 2 pictures were identical still, there's a problem with your assets, okay? You're gonna need to go and replace one and fix it. This little picture over here is actually a good indicator of whether you're accidentally using the same asset, okay? So since they're different, we're golden. So now, look in the background, you see the little 3/4 inch squares, it's about to change. I'm gonna hit OK, and it's gonna update. Wait for it, there we go. It updated so that my image is 1 foot square, okay? This works for bricks, it works for tile, it works for grass, it works for every material. So I hope that helps you guys to make brand new materials. And if you need to watch through this video again, then do so. But this is how you do it. And this is how we make brand new materials in Revit, and we can even bring in our own photographs and use them in Revit on our projects. All right. Well, that's about it for today. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And until we meet again, happy Reviting. All right. Bye-bye.